Captain stood in the observation deck of the Resilience and watched the vote happen. Around him, hundreds of alien species pressed their buttons. Red lights filled the massive chamber of the Galactic Assembly. Every single civilization was voting yes. Yes to abandon the, yes to let them die alone. There were small beings who glowed softly in the dark. Their skin looked like crystal and they could speak mind to mind without words. For 300 years they had been peaceful members of the galaxy. They never fought wars. They never lied. They traded fairly and helped anyone who asked. Then the plague came. It started 6 months ago. They began to change. Their glow became brighter. Their telepathy became stronger. But something else changed too. They could no longer hide their thoughts. Every emotion, every truth came through their mental voice. The other species called it corruption. They said they were broken, dangerous. Did not believe that. "Sir, it is our turn to vote," said from behind him. The tactical officer's voice was tight with anger. Looked at his console. Earth's government had sent clear orders. Abstain from the vote. Do not make trouble. Humanity had only joined the Galactic Assembly 40 years ago. They were still new, still trying to prove themselves worthy. He pressed the button anyway. A single green light appeared in the sea of red. The chamber went silent. Thousands of alien eyes turned toward the human section, felt their stares, but he did not look away. "The vote is complete," announced the assembly speaker, a tall being made of living metal. "They will be quarantined. No ship may enter. No aid will be given. They are declared corrupted and dangerous." His communicator buzzed. Messages from Earth were already coming in. Angry messages, scared messages. "What have you done?" they asked. "Why did you vote against everyone?" Doctor appeared beside him. She was the ship's medical officer and had studied alien biology for 20 years. "We need to go there," she said quietly. "To there, before it is too late." "Earth will never approve that," said. "We will be arrested." Turned to look at his crew. The Resilience was an exploration vessel, not a warship. They had 53 people aboard. Scientists, engineers, diplomats, good people who trusted him. "I am going to the," said. "Anyone who wants to leave can take a shuttle back to Earth. I will not order you to break galactic law." Nobody moved. Smiled, "Then we go together." The journey took 8 days. There was called a small planet covered in crystal forests that reflected light like diamonds. As they approached, sensors showed no other ships. The assembly had already left them alone to die. When they landed, they were waiting. Hundreds of them stood in a clearing, their bodies glowing with soft blue and purple light. They looked weak. Many were lying on the ground. The plague was killing them, but not in the way the assembly claimed. An old approached. Her light was dim, flickering like a candle in the wind. "Why are you here, humans?" Her voice came directly into their minds. "All others have abandoned us." Stepped forward with her medical scanner. "We came to help. May I examine you?" The old, whose name was Lyra, nodded. For 2 hours ran tests. She took samples. She compared the data to old records. Finally, she turned to with wide eyes. "This is not a plague," she said. "This is evolution." Felt his heart beat faster. "Explain." "Their brains are changing," continued, "becoming more powerful. The telepathy is not breaking down. It is improving. But there is a side effect. They can no longer lie, even in their own thoughts, and anyone near them can sense truth from lies." Understood immediately. That is why the assembly wants them dead. They can expose corruption. "How many species in the assembly have secrets?" asked. "How many have lied in treaties, stolen from trade partners? The evolution makes them living truth detectors." Looked at Lyra. The old was watching them with large, knowing eyes. "You already knew this," he said. "Yes," Lyra's mental voice was sad. "We discovered it 3 months ago. We tried to tell the assembly. They did not want to hear. Some species are built on lies, Captain. Your species is different. We can feel it. Humans carry truth in their hearts, even when it hurts you." "Can you be cured?" asked. "Can you go back to how you were?" "No," Lyra said, "and we do not wish to. This is what we are meant to become." Made his decision. He opened a channel to Earth. "This is Captain of the Resilience. I am officially requesting emergency protection status for the species. They are not corrupted. They are evolving, and the galaxy wants them dead because they expose lies." The response came 30 minutes later. It was not from Earth's government. It was from Admiral, commander of the Human Defense Fleet. "Captain, you have created quite a problem." Her voice was stern but not angry. "The Assembly has issued an arrest warrant for you and your crew. They demand you leave space immediately." Waited. Then continued. "I am bringing 12 ships to your location. If the need protection, humanity will provide it. Prepare coordinates for evacuation zones. We are coming." Closed his eyes and felt relief wash over him. Behind him, his crew cheered. Around them, this glow brightened with hope. The line had been drawn. Humanity would not abandon them, even if it cost them everything. Admiral's fleet arrived 3 days later. 12 human warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel above, their weapons powered but not aimed. It was a statement. Humanity was ready to defend, not attack. On Earth, chaos had erupted. Half the government wanted to arrest and apologize to the Galactic Assembly. They feared war with hundreds of alien civilizations. They feared humanity would be destroyed. The other half saw something different. They saw the surveillance footage that had sent back. They saw the children, glowing softly in the dark, too weak to stand. They saw peaceful beings condemned to death for the crime of being unable to lie. The vote on Earth was close. By only 3%, the human government decided to support actions. Was the first diplomat to arrive. He was a thin man with gray hair who had negotiated with aliens for 30 years. He came aboard the Resilience and immediately went to meet with the "This will not be easy," told after his first meeting with Lyra. "I have contacted 40 species, asking them to reconsider the quarantine. None of them will speak to me. The Assembly has made its decision final." "Then we evacuate as many as we can," said. "Bring them to human space." "That will take months," pointed out. "There are 6 million on this planet." A young engineer named spoke up from the corner. He had been quiet until now, studying the star system on his. "We need to fortify this system. Make it impossible for the Assembly to attack without heavy losses." "With 12 ships," shook her head, "we are outnumbered 1,000 to 1. "Not ships," said, his eyes bright with excitement. "Defense stations, automated weapons platforms, sensor grids. The system has 3 asteroid belts. We can mine them, build defenses that would take the Assembly years to break through." Looked at, she was studying with interest. "How long would this take?" 6 months, said. "Maybe less if we get help from Earth." "Do it," ordered. Work began immediately. Human engineering teams swarmed into the system. They built mining stations in the asteroid belts. They constructed defense platforms armed with missiles. Worked 18 hours a day, designing systems that could operate automatically for years. Meanwhile, her medical team began evacuating the weakest. Transport ships arrived from Earth, taking groups of refugees to human colonies. It was slow work, dangerous work. Several ships were intercepted by Assembly patrols, but the human escorts drove them away each time. Then the assassins came. The first attempt happened at night. A small ship tried to slip past human sensors and drop bombs on the largest city. Caught them 20 seconds before they fired. The human defense fleet disabled the ship and captured the crew. They were from a species called a powerful civilization that had been Assembly members for 800 years. During interrogation, they admitted everything. The Assembly had sent them. The orders came from the highest levels. Made the recording public. He broadcast it across the entire galaxy. This was not just about abandoning this was murder. The response shocked everyone. 7 small species contacted humanity in secret. They said they had experienced similar situations. The assembly had pressured them, threatened them, even manipulated their governments. This truth-sensing ability scared powerful species who had built their empires on lies and deception. "We cannot help you openly," one ambassador told, "but we will not condemn you either." It was not enough. The Assembly issued an ultimatum to Earth: abandon the within 30 days or face expulsion from the Galactic Assembly. Humanity would lose all trade agreements, all technology exchanges, all diplomatic relationships. Earth would be alone. On the Resilience, gathered with his original crew, they sat in the mess hall, drinking coffee and eating simple rations. Everyone was exhausted. 6 months of constant work had taken its toll. "Earth's government is voting tomorrow," said quietly. "The polls show it is very close." "We did what we thought was right," said. "If Earth decides differently, we will accept it." Said nothing. He looked out the window at below. The crystal forests were glowing brighter now. Said it was a sign that the evolution was progressing well. They were getting stronger. Lyra appeared in the doorway. The old moved slowly, but her glow was steady. "May I join you?" "Of course," said, offering her a seat. Lyra settled down and looked at each human in turn. "I need to explain something about why you help us. We have been sensing your thoughts and we do not understand. You are risking everything. Your people may lose their place in the galaxy. Some of you may die, yet you stay. Why?" Answered first, "Because it is right." "But right for whom?" Lyra pressed. "We are not your species. We cannot offer you anything valuable. We are weak, a burden." Leaned forward. "Lyra, humans have a long history of failing each other. We fought wars. We enslaved our own kind. We destroyed parts of our planet, but we learned. We decided that strength means nothing if you use it to harm the helpless. We joined the Galactic Assembly hopping to find wisdom. Instead, we found the same cruelty wearing different faces. So you protect us to prove you are different." "No," said. "We protect you because when we look at your people, we see people. Not aliens, not strangers, just people who need help. That is enough." Lyra was quiet for a long moment. Then her mental voice filled with emotion. "You are extraordinary creatures." The next day, Earth voted. By 62%, humanity chose to stay with the. They accepted expulsion from the Galactic Assembly. They accepted economic sanctions. They accepted isolation. When the news came through, the crew of the Resilience celebrated, cried, hugged everyone she could reach, actually smiled. Admiral sent a message to the entire human fleet. "Today, we prove that honor is not for sale. Hold the line." The Assembly's response was swift. Humanity was formally expelled. 80% of galactic civilizations cut all contact with Earth. Trade agreements were canceled. Technology exchanges stopped. Human colonies outside of their home system were isolated. It was the beginning of the long vigil. Stood on the bridge of the Resilience and watched assembly ships gather at the edge of the system. They did not attack, not yet, but they were watching, waiting. "How long can we hold?" asked. Looked at the defense grid had built. It was impressive, maybe even enough. "As long as it takes," he said. "We made a promise. Humans keep their promises." Behind him, unknown to, they had begun broadcasting something new into space. It was not words. It was a feeling. Pure gratitude mixed with something else. A frequency that carried truth. And it was spreading. 10 years passed. Commander now led the permanent defense fleet around. He was younger than had been, only 35 years old, but the decade of constant vigilance had aged him. His hair was already turning gray at the temples. Earth had suffered during those 10 years. Without galactic trade, resources became expensive. Technology development slowed. Some human colonies struggled to survive. Many people questioned the decision. Was it worth it? Should they have abandoned the after all? But humanity did not change its mind. Doctor had replaced as the lead researcher. She was brilliant and obsessed with understanding the evolution. Every day, she ran new tests. Every night, she studied the data. They were becoming something the galaxy had never seen before. "Look at this," told one morning. She pulled up images on her screen. The brain structures have completely reorganized. Their telepathy now operates on quantum frequencies. "What does that mean?" asked. "It means they can detect things that should be impossible to detect: quantum manipulation, reality alterations. I tested it yesterday. I showed a named Shen 2 contracts. One was real. One had been digitally altered. He could tell immediately which was fake, even though the alterations were perfect. He said the fake one felt wrong." Frowned, "So they can sense lies in documents." "Not just documents," said excitedly. "Treaties, trade agreements, any form of deception. Do you understand what this means? That can expose any corruption in the galaxy." "No wonder the Assembly wants them dead." Nodded. "I sent my findings to Earth. They are analyzing old Assembly treaties now. If they are right, we might discover that many galactic agreements were built on manipulation." On Earth, a man named was solving a different problem. He coordinated the integration of refugees into human society. Over the decade, humanity had evacuated 2 million. They now lived on 7 different human worlds. The integration was not easy at first. Humans had to adjust to having telepaths nearby. They could not turn off their ability to sense emotions and truth. It made some humans uncomfortable. But slowly, trust built between the species. Something unexpected happened. Human communities with neighbors became more honest. Crime rates dropped. Corruption in local governments disappeared. People stopped lying to each other because they could sense it anyway. At first, humans thought this would feel oppressive. Instead, most found it freeing. Truth became normal. His favorite success story was about a young named Shen. He was only 12 years old when he arrived on Earth. Now he was 22 and had just graduated from the Human Military Academy. He was the first to ever join a military force. "Why did you join?" asked him during the graduation ceremony. Shen's mental voice was clear and strong. "Because your people protected mine when no one else would. I want to protect them back." Shen was not alone. 300 young had joined human institutions, schools, hospitals, research centers. They were becoming part of human civilization, and humans were learning from them. But danger never stopped. The assassination attempts continued throughout the decade. The Assembly sent ships at least twice a year. Some tried to bomb settlements. Others attempted to poison water supplies. A few even tried to infiltrate human colonies disguised as refugees. Every attempt failed. Its defense network was too good. Human and cooperation was too strong. And something else was happening that no one fully understood yet. Every species that attacked humans started experiencing problems at home. They who sent the first assassins faced a massive rebellion 3 years later. Their government collapsed. The empire, who attempted to blockade human trade routes, lost control of 5 colonies to independence movements. The Confederation, who tried to bomb a settlement, discovered massive corruption in their own leadership. At first, humans thought it was coincidence, but noticed the pattern. She explained too. Their telepathy is not limited by distance anymore. When they sense lies and corruption in attacking species, that truth spreads. It infects the attacker's own populations. People start questioning their leaders. Truth becomes a virus. "That sounds like a weapon," said carefully. "It is not intentional," assured him. "They are not attacking anyone. They simply exist, and their existence reveals truth. That truth spreads naturally." Sat back in his chair. The Assembly must know this by now. They must be terrified. They are. I intercepted communications last month. Several species want to negotiate. They want to find a peaceful solution. But the leadership refuses. They have built their power on manipulation for so long that truth is their enemy. On the crystal forests had grown larger. The planet was healing from the early days of the plague. Lyra was now nearly 70 years old. She moved slowly, but her mind was still sharp. She stood in the main square of the capital city, watching young practice their abilities. They were creating mental networks, linking their minds across vast distances. The evolution was accelerating. Soon, all would be able to connect simultaneously. A human shuttle landed nearby, stepped out, older now and retired from active service, but he still visited twice a year. Eldest Lyra, he greeted her with respect. "Captain," she replied warmly, "you look tired." "I am," he admitted. "Earth is struggling. Some people want to negotiate with the Assembly. They say 10 years is enough. They want to end the isolation." Lyra's glow dimmed with sadness. "And what do you want?" Looked around at the thriving city. Children played in the streets. Adults worked in the crystal gardens. They were alive, happy, free. "I want what we have," he said, "but I am not sure how much longer we can hold." Lyra touched his hand gently. Even after 10 years, physical contact with it was strange for humans. Their skin felt warm and electric. "You have given us more than survival. You have given us hope. Whatever happens next, we will face it together." That night, emergency alarms woke everyone on. His voice came through every communicator. "All personnel to battle stations. We have multiple ships approaching. This is not a drill." Rushed to the command center. The screens showed what they had feared for 10 years. The Assembly had finally lost patience. 200 warships were entering the system. It was an invasion force. Stood at the center console, his face pale but determined. "They gave us an ultimatum. 24 hours to surrender all. If we refuse, they will destroy every ship and orbital station we have." "How many ships do we have?" asked. 47 said. "We are outnumbered more than 4-1. In the corner was frantically working on her computer. "I am sending everything we have learned to Earth. All the data about Assembly corruption. Everything they have detected. If we lose here, at least the truth will survive." Looked at the massive fleet approaching. They had 24 hours. 24 hours to decide if they would surrender to certain death or fight a battle they could not win. "Send a message to Earth," said quietly. "Tell them what is happening. Tell them we need help." Shook his head. "Earth is 15 days away at maximum speed. Even if they send their entire fleet immediately, they will arrive too late." "Send it anyway," insisted. As the message transmitted across space, walked to the window. He looked down at the glowing cities and crystal forests. They had protected this world for 10 years. They had kept their promise. Now it seemed that promise would cost them everything. Behind him, unknown to the humans, every on the planet was linking their minds. They were preparing something. A final gift to the species who had refused to abandon them. A way to repay the debt. The truth they carried was about to spread farther than anyone imagined. Fleet Captain commanded the human defense fleet from her flagship, the Defiant. She was 40 years old and had spent the last decade preparing for this exact moment. Still, seeing 200 enemy ships on her screens made her stomach tight with fear. "Status report," she ordered. Her tactical officer responded immediately. "Assembly fleet holding position at the outer system. They are not advancing yet. Their commander is probably giving us time to consider surrender." Looked at the countdown on her screen. 23 hours and 42 minutes remaining. She opened a channel to all human ships. "This is Captain. I know what everyone is thinking. We cannot win this battle. The mathematics are clear. We are outnumbered 4-1, and many Assembly species have better weapons than we do." She paused, looking at the faces of her crew. They were scared, but they were ready. "But here is what I know about humans. We do not measure victory by survival. We measure it by whether we kept our word. 10 years ago, we promised to protect That promise did not have an expiration date. It did not say we would protect them only if it was easy. Around her, crew members straightened in their seats. So we will fight, not because we can win, but because we are humans, and humans keep their promises. Out. On Earth, the message from had arrived. The entire planet went silent as people watched the news. The assembly was finally attacking. Everyone knew this day might come, but the reality was crushing. In the government building, leaders argued frantically. Some wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to send Earth's entire fleet immediately, even though they would arrive too late. A few suggested abandoning to save the human defenders. Then Admiral walked into the chamber. He was 70 years old now, his hair white and his step slow, but his voice was still strong. I am the man who started this. 10 years ago, I voted to protect I disobeyed orders. I risked war. Some of you have never forgiven me for that decision. The chamber was completely silent. I am here to tell you to send our fleet. All of it. Send every ship we have, even if they arrive too late. Send them because it will tell our defenders that they are not alone. Send them because it will tell the galaxy that humanity does not abandon its friends. The vote was taken. By 87%, Earth agreed to send its entire defense fleet toward 300 ships. They would arrive 13 days after the battle ended, but they would come. As the countdown continued, 12 hours remaining. Was in her laboratory working desperately on something. Shen, the young military officer, stood beside her. What are you doing? He asked. Trying to save us, said without looking up. The collective is gathering their power. Every on this planet and on human worlds is linking their minds. They want to do something, but I do not know what. They want to help, Shen said quietly. We are tired of being protected. We want to fight too. You cannot fight warships with telepathy, said. Can we not? Shen's mental voice carried something new. Confidence. Power. Doctor, you studied our evolution for 10 years. You know what we can do. We sense truth and lies. We sense quantum manipulation. We can feel when reality is being altered. Stopped working and looked at him. What are you saying? During battle, ships rely on sensors, targeting computers, communication networks. All of those systems can be manipulated if you know how. The assembly species have been doing it for centuries, cheating in ways that are almost impossible to detect. His eyes went wide, but the kin detected. More than detect, Shen said. We can disrupt it. If we link together all 6 million of us, we can create a field of truth that covers this entire system. Nothing false can exist inside it. No manipulated sensors, no altered communications. Everything will be real. That will level the battlefield, breathed. The assembly's technological advantage comes partly from quantum manipulation that gives false readings to enemies. Exactly, Shen said. But there is more. We can share this ability with human ships. Link our minds to your pilots, your gunners, your commanders. They will know instinctively where enemies are. What they will do next. Perfect coordination. Grabbed her communicator. Captain, I need to talk to you immediately. 2 hours before the deadline, the collective made their offer to the human fleet. They would link their minds with every human defender, share their abilities, fight together in a way no species had ever fought before. Some humans were nervous about allowing telepaths into their minds, but did not hesitate. We accept, she said. If they are willing to risk themselves for us, we can trust them. The link began. Felt it first. A warm presence in her mind, not invasive, not controlling, just there, supporting, and suddenly she could feel her entire fleet, every ship, every pilot. They were connected, one mind with 47 bodies. This is incredible, her tactical officer whispered. At the same moment, Ambassador was uploading something to every communication network in the galaxy. She had been working in secret for months, compiling evidence. Every piece of corruption that had detected, every manipulated treaty, Every quantum alteration, 50 years of assembly lies. She pressed send. The deadline arrived. The assembly fleet advanced, 200 ships moving in perfect formation. Their commander sent one final message: "Surrender the now, or we will destroy you." Sent back 3 words: "Come and try." The battle began. Assembly ships opened fire first. Hundreds of missiles and energy beams crossed space toward the human fleet, but the humans, linked with minds, moved in ways they never could before. They dodged with perfect timing. Every ship knew where every other ship was. There were no collisions, no confusion. Human weapons fired back. The coordination was impossible. Perfect. Hit targets millions of kilometers away. Missiles curved around obstacles with precision. The assembly fleet had never faced an enemy like this. Then the collective activated their quantum disruption. Across the battlefield, assembly ships suddenly lost their advantages. Their manipulated targeting systems showed real data instead of enhanced data. Their altered sensors gave true readings instead of optimized readings. For the first time in centuries, they had to fight fair. Panic spread through the assembly fleet. "What is happening?" Commanders screamed at their technical officers. "Why are our systems degrading?" They are not degrading, someone realized. They are showing truth. The battle raged for 6 hours. Ships exploded on both sides. Humans took heavy casualties. 12 vessels were destroyed. 300 crew members died, but they held their position. The assembly fleet lost 30 ships, then 50. Their formation broke. Commanders gave conflicting orders. Some ships refused to fire on the humans, their crews having seen evidence broadcast across all channels. "Those humans are protecting an innocent species," a captain transmitted. "We are following corrupted orders." More ships pulled back. The assembly fleet's unity shattered. Finally, their commander gave the order to retreat. The remaining ships turned and fled the system. The Defiant collapsed in her chair. The link slowly faded from her mind. She felt empty without it. Around her, crew members were crying, some with relief, some with grief for friends lost. "We won," someone said in disbelief. "No," said quietly. "We survived, but look what it cost." The victory was not clean, but it was real. Humanity had held the line, and across the galaxy, its broadcast was causing chaos. Species were demanding answers from their governments. The evidence was undeniable. The assembly had built its power on lies. 3 years after the battle, the Galactic Assembly was dead. The collapse happened slowly, then all at once. Evidence had spread across every communication network. Species discovered that their leaders had lied to them for decades. Trade agreements had been manipulated. Wars had been started based on false information. Entire civilizations realized they had been cheated. Rebellions erupted on 40 worlds. Governments fell. The Assembly's headquarters became empty as species their representatives. Within 18 months, the organization that had ruled the galaxy for 800 years simply stopped functioning. President stood on the balcony of Earth's government building and watched the celebration below. She was young for a president, only 42 years old, but the last 3 years had been the most challenging of her life. Humanity had gone from isolated outcasts to the center of galactic politics. "Ironic, is it not?" said a voice beside her. Admiral had joined her on the balcony. He was 73 now and walked with a cane. "We were expelled from the assembly for protecting the. Now the assembly is gone and everyone wants to be our friend." "Not everyone," said. "Thee and the Empire still refuse contact. They blame us for the chaos." "They blame us for exposing their corruption," corrected. "There is a difference." Below them, humans walked together through the streets. It was a common sight now. The two species had become so integrated that young people could not remember a time when they were separate. Schools taught both human and history. Hospitals employed both human doctors and healers who could sense illness through telepathy. "The new coalition is meeting tomorrow," said. 47 species have confirmed attendance. They want us to lead it. "Will you accept?" Was quiet for a moment. "Only if we do it right this time. No secrets, no manipulation. The collective will verify every agreement, every treaty, complete transparency." "Some species will refuse to join under those conditions," pointed out. "Then they can stay separate," said firmly. "The galaxy has seen what happens when lies are allowed to spread. Truth is not negotiable." Lyra stood in the crystal gardens with, both of them were old now. Lyra was 83, ancient for a, was 71, her hair completely white. They met here every month, two friends who had known each other for 23 years. "Your gardens have grown beautiful," said, touching one of the crystal trees. It glowed softly under her hand. "The planet is healing," Lyra agreed. "Our evolution has stabilized, no more changes. We are what we are meant to be." "And what is that?" Lyra thought about the question. "Guardians of truth, perhaps. We cannot lie, we cannot be lied to. Our existence forces honesty in all things. It is a strange burden." "But a needed one," said. "Look what the galaxy became without it." They walked together through the garden. Around them, young practiced their abilities. The new generation was even more powerful than Lyra's. They could link minds across entire star systems. They could sense deception in any form. Some humans feared this power, but most had learned to embrace it. "I have been thinking about's question," Lyra said suddenly. "From 10 years ago, he asked why we think humans helped us. You answered him then." "I gave him the truth as I understood it then, but I understand better now. Humans helped us not because they are perfect. They are not. We can sense their flaws, their doubts, their fears, but humans have something rare in the galaxy. They have guilt." Frowned guilt. "They remember their mistakes," Lyra explained. "Their wars, their cruelty to each other. Most species forget or justify their past sins. Humans carry them. That guilt makes them want to be better. When they saw us abandoned, they saw a chance to prove they had learned, that they could be different." Smiled sadly. "So we are your redemption." "You are our hope," Lyra corrected. "A species that chooses to be better than they were, that is worth protecting." In space above commanded the permanent defense station. It was smaller now. After the battle, many human ships had returned to Earth. The crisis was over, but had chosen to stay. This was his home now. Shen was with him on the bridge. The young was now a full commander in the human defense fleet. He wore the uniform proudly. "Sensors showing incoming ships," the tactical officer reported. 20 vessels. They are broadcasting friendship codes." "Check the identification. It is the Confederation. They want to talk." "The same species that tried to bomb us 8 years ago?" Shen asked. "The same." The ambassador's message was humble. Their government had collapsed during the rebellion. New leaders had taken power. They wanted to apologize. They wanted to join the new coalition. They wanted to verify their honesty. It was happening more and more. Species that had once attacked them now came asking for forgiveness. The galaxy was learning. On Earth, in a small classroom, a teacher was giving a history lesson to students. Half the students were human. Half were. They sat together without division. "Who can tell me why we call this period the Great Change?" the teacher asked. A young human girl raised her hand. "Because everything changed after we protected them." "And why did we protect them?" The girl thought about it. "Because it was right." A boy added his thoughts mentally, which were translated through speakers for those without telepathy. "Because humans decided that being good was more important than being safe." The teacher nodded. "Both answers are correct. The great change happened because one species chose honor over fear, and that choice changed everything." 23 years after its first vote, the Concordat of Open Minds held its founding ceremony. 47 species signed the charter. The rules were simple: complete transparency in all matters, verification of every agreement, no secrets between member species. It was not a perfect system. Some species refused to join. They said the rules were too strict. They wanted privacy. They wanted the ability to negotiate in secret. The Concordat let them go without conflict. "Let them stay separate," President said. "We will not force honesty on anyone, but we will not allow lies either." Attended the ceremony in a wheelchair now. He was too old and sick to walk much anymore, but he wanted to be there, wanted to see what his choice had created. Lyra sat beside him. She was also weak, near the end of her life. "We did it," said quietly. "We saved them." "You saved us," Lyra corrected. "But we saved you too, I think. Humans needed to prove they could be better. We gave you that chance." "Was it worth it, all the pain, the deaths, the years of isolation?" Lyra's glow pulsed softly. "Look around, look at what exists now. Dozens of species living honestly together. No more manipulation, no more corruption. The galaxy is not perfect, but it is better. Was that worth 300 human lives and 10 years of hardship?" Looked at the celebration. Humans and dozens of other species mixing freely. Children of different worlds playing together. Peace built on truth instead of lies. "Yes," he said, "it was worth it." 5 years later, died peacefully in his sleep. He was 78 years old. His funeral was attended by representatives from 60 species. The collective sent a telepathic message that was felt across 3 star systems. It was pure gratitude mixed with grief. On they built a monument in the main square, a statue of the Resilience, the ship that had first come to help them. At the base, they carved words in both human and language. "They stayed." 2 words that summarized everything. When the galaxy abandoned when staying meant losing everything, humans had stayed. They had kept their promise. Lyra died 2 months after. Her last thoughts were transmitted to every across the galaxy. She told them to remember, to always remember the species that chose honor over survival. The galaxy continued to change. The Concordat grew slowly. New species joined every year. Not everyone accepted the rules of complete honesty, but those who did found something unexpected: peace. Real peace built on truth and trust. Humans and remained close. Their civilizations intertwined so deeply that historians argued whether they were still separate species or had become something new. Mixed communities thrived. Technology advanced. The crystal forests became a symbol of hope across the galaxy. And on Earth, in schools across the planet, teachers told the story of Captain and the Resilience. How one human decided that doing what was right mattered more than staying safe. How that choice had changed the galaxy forever. The students always asked the same question: would we make the same choice today? The answer was always the same: we hope so, because being human means staying when others run, standing when others kneel, protecting the helpless even when it costs everything. That was the lesson of the Great Change. Not that humans were perfect, not that they were the strongest but that they were stubborn enough to keep their word, even when the entire galaxy told them to break it. And the galaxy was better for it.